What up, what up? It's the Chief Kaseek Ortiz.
Tyrant333, and this is Figure It the Fuck Out.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and we back. Got a good conversation for you today. We're talking about building a tribe, building a unit, organizing a family, and all the above. And that's what everyone should be striving to do. Having an immediate circle, a power team, individuals that you know got your back no matter what. You going down the dark alley with this dude like me and Kaseek over here, you know, beating some niggas' asses and, you know, taking names.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. Welcome to the gang. No.
Facts. You don't got to get jumped in, though. You know, GrizzGangForever, go back to that. This is how it all started, building the tribe. Get it, Grizz. The old saying we used to say in the schoolyard. The old saying that this whole movement came off of, get it, Grizz. And that meant really getting anything you needed done, despite what obstacles might be in your path. Getting it, Grizz, getting to it. And that moniker turned into a whole nother movement. It turned into Bang Grizz, and then it turned into GGF, GrizzGangForever. Then it turned into Fxck Out, and then it turned into, you know, the studio. And it's constantly morphing, it's constantly transforming, and it's a great thing. But that takes a lot of legwork, a lot of years, a lot of time, and a lot of tests that will come in your path. Hence the name Get It Grizz. And we got a very talented individual over here, Kaseek. You know, that means the chief.
Wait, he's here? The motherfucker's here?
That means the chief, man, you know? And, talk to him about that.
Yeah. So many episodes we've literally talked about how it is that we need to foster relationships. Basically having artists, producers, engineers, videographers, managers. It's like when you go into it, it's very similar to what would be a marriage. And every time we talk about being a marriage, it's really focused on the communication at hand. And focusing and fostering these relationships and building that communication within each person that you actually deal with can help you grow in a long form. For the long run, I guess you could say. You know, there's people that are definitely going to be there for the short run. There's definitely people that, you know, they might only be able to help you up until this far, and they help you go into the next level. Which actually brings me up to that mindset of like when I hit you up the other day and we was talking about how I think it was that you said that Dame was only able to help Jay-Z get to a certain part, and once that certain part actually happened, it was like for him to get to the next level, he had to branch out and do something different. And there's some relationships that happens, but for the most part, up until then, it's how you do things, the fostering the relationships, building that whole plan up with the people that are actually around you.
They never would have been able to get to that level at all if they didn't build their relationship first and really decide like we're going to go to bat for each other. We're going to work hard at this, build up Rockefeller, right, and make it international. You know, if they didn't commit to that first, there is no decision for them to go work with this person or that person because there's no value behind what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, so some people, they did it the right way. There was a lot of money on the table when they made that split. And it's 2024. Marriages don't last as long as they used to.
No, definitely not.
So I get what you're saying with the like, you know, there can be different time frames as far as these different people you come across or end up working with or building the relationship with.
Yeah.
You know, the time varies, especially in this day and age where everything moves a lot quicker.
Right. And I don't even mean it in like a shady sense either. You know, some people will think like, oh, that's shady, or you forget the people. You never forget the people. It's how you do it. You know what I'm saying? My man's actually told me way back in the day, my OG actually, you know what I'm saying? He let me know, he actually said something that like always kind of stuck with me throughout my business. And he said that basically, I don't want to like quote unquote him and then not spit it verbatim, but basically what he was saying is that everybody steps on your toes. It's how they step on your toes. If somebody's close to you and you're actually building with them, you might let a little leeway happen where it's like, okay, I'm gonna let you step on my toes because I know if you step on my toes, I can help boost you this way. But then there's people that do bad business and they're stepping on your toes every which way, left and right. And it's not You're not giving a good vibe. You're not giving a solid perception of who it is that you are. You know, there's a certain way to do things.
And those type of people, it's always going to be hard for them to find a tribe or a crew, a gang, a family. They're always going to have a new family. They're like a fucking, they're like an adoptee or some shit.
Right.
Like they're always being a new crew or something like that because they're always stepping on people's toes.
Right.
And doing it with bad intent too.
Right.
There's a good thing there's a such thing as healthy competition. You know, that exists within every crew, every circle. It should. You guys should be working to make each other better.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between, you know, doing the other thing, stepping on someone's toes because, like, you act like you're befriending them, but you don't really fuck with them.
Right.
Those are those people, going back to the tribe thing, those are the type of bad eggs you don't need in the tribe. And they end up getting weeded out usually a lot faster than going back to the Jay-Z and Dame thing. There were people in that crew who probably got kicked out within the first like couple months, a year, you know, that we don't even know their names.
Yeah.
You know, we know them because they built something together and they stayed together for a while. You know,
usually end up finding out those people even exist because they end up hopping on platforms like I don't even want to say like DJ Vlad because Vlad doesn't really entertain that, but like the Art of Dialogue and all these other little podcasts. And I don't mean that disrespectfully when I say little podcasts, but these other podcasts that are doing their thing, they end up interviewing people that were like, well, yeah, I was the reason why they did this. And and it's like, you're so stuck on that past shit. But you never grew and you never actually stayed with the team for a specific reason. There's something that happened. Whether it was your fault, their fault, or the universe's way of saying, hey, these people are taking to the next level and simply you can't go. And real talk, not everybody can go. But, you know, I kind of digress because I feel like what we're kind of talking about, or at least what it is that I'm speaking about, it puts it in a negative light. And I don't mean it to be in a negative light. I actually want people to know that building your tribe, building your village, and finding the people that actually support and love you actually really, really matter in the very long run if you want to have stability and longevity in this game. But it doesn't just start with them. It starts from you being a genuine person and building and fostering these relationships with people. That's the most important part because it all begins, like you said, I'm Kaseek, I'm the chief. Like it starts with me. I have to be a good leader. And all those conversations that we had where you said, like, in order to be a leader, you have to also be a good worker. If you were never a good worker, you're never, ever going to actually be a good leader. I've been a great worker. I've been honest. I've been doing good business. You know, I always say, like, if I'm doing good business with you, if you fuck me over, yeah, you might fuck me over. You might, be able to catch my money, or you might be able to do whatever it is that you think you're getting over on me. But in the long run for you have to deal with that shit. And I don't have to deal with that because when I look in the mirror, I see a handsome guy who's the chief of the tribe and he's ready to go, you know?
And when you build yourself in that way, on that foundation, you end up bringing other people around you on that same type of energy. Or they get weeded out, like you said. But that naturally happens. But you end up, your core foundation ends up being people on that same type of vibe. Like, yeah, we're trying to build something positive here. You see positive people usually around a bunch of other positive people.
Yeah.
You see negative people around a whole bunch of other negative people.
Right.
That doesn't happen for no reason. It's what they're on, what type of mindset they're on. What do they wake up in the morning and they think about first off, and like, what are they trying to accomplish with their life?
Yeah.
That means something to them. And what do they value really?
That energy means everything because we said it before, like if you rub elbows with a bunch of millionaires, eventually you're going to start thinking like a millionaire. But if you start rubbing elbows with a bunch of bums, and I'll even give it to myself, like if I started coming to the studio with nothing but negative energy, I'm basically weeding myself out. Yeah. Even from this team in that sense. If I stay with that type of energy, you guys might, let me know like, hey, what you're doing is kind of, negative, or it's hurting the crew. It's not actually benefiting anybody. Naturally.
And that's good to have an open dialogue with your crew. That's going back to having a crew, a tribe. You should be able to talk to people about that.
Right.
And put your homies, whatever, homegirls in check. And they should be able to do the same thing to you.
Right.
And actually really look yourself in the mirror and wonder like, yo, am I bugging? Am I really acting?
Hell yeah.
Why is every time you got to ask yourself, why is every time I get into situations with this person, that person ends up in a negative situation? There has to be some way you're contributing to it or could do something better, say something different that can make that whole situation change.
Yeah, because the communication it just falls right in the line of building that tribe. Just because I might be the king or the leader or whatever the case may be, I don't necessarily also have to make everybody around me feel like I am that leader. So you have to listen to me. Like I need to belittle somebody. I could be at the top. You know, back in the day, they would talk about how Cruz would take a photo, but you never knew who the biggest player was because all of them they were all wearing chains. They were all suited. They were all fresh to death. Like you couldn't tell which one was the boss. To the picture, it looked like they're all bosses. And I look at it in this team, I think not only are we actually all the bosses, but we could also carry ourselves as individually a major boss. So you can't tell who's really leading the situation.
That's major.
So being able to be that leader, you know, you also have to have, like you were saying, being able to have those conversations with these people and your team. Like, yo, just because I might be the leader, that doesn't mean I'm always right. Or just because you might lead the situation doesn't mean you're always right. Or whether it be Ben, Grizz, Jack, or whoever's on the team, it doesn't matter. Our lawyer, it doesn't matter. Like what matters is that you be able to take that constructive criticism and be able to grow. And if you're not growing from it, you're hindering not only yourself, but the team that you're trying to lock arms with.
Yeah, and that's a major thing there. Bring the right people in. We've talked about this before and touched on it. You got to be on the same, mind wave there. And be ready to collaborate if you can. If you see someone else in your field of work that's doing work, I feel like there's a barrier there where people be afraid to reach out to people and recruit. Recruiting is a part of everything.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need more people on your team. Figure out how to have a conversation with that person, rub shoulders with that person and talk to them. Not everyone is as unreachable as you think. A lot of people might have actually been waiting for you to reach out to them, but they were just kind of afraid to pull the trigger also.
Especially if they view you bigger than what you view yourself. If they're looking at you like, oh, I can't really holler at that guy. He might charge me $1 million. And you fuck around and find out. Like, no, actually, I'm actually really down to work with you, whether for free or not even a third of what you was thinking it was going to be. You know, like that really does genuinely happen. I know that I've worked with people that it happens to be in that light, that same fashion.
And another way you can build your tribe, build your crew, team, whatever you want to call it, is just shout your shit to the rooftops. Whatever you're doing, whatever your brand is, whatever your business is, be passionate. That goes a long way. Passion. If you really love what you're doing, like GGF, every time I'm out somewhere, I'm talking about the studio. I'm doing life insurance calls. I'm telling them, oh, yo, actually at night, I'm doing podcasts. I'm at the studio with the team. Like I'm always mentioning it in some way, shape, or form, because then you're also going to figure out, you're naturally going to find more people who want to be a part of that and want to be a part of your team. The other day I was on a life insurance call, helped the dude with a policy, find out the dude works for WGHZ, some huge news station out in Boston, doing just strictly edits.
Word. Nice.
Edits.
Yeah.
He doesn't like to do the shooting work. He likes to do the edits.
Right.
Who do I think of? I got a team member who likes to do the shooting. He wants to make movies.
Right.
Okay, a dude like that, you're thinking like, okay, that's a seamless fit into the team, what we already got going on.
Yeah.
So when you're looking to recruit, going back to that could be a good candidate. You look at it and be like, yo, how do we work together? And which I obviously did. You know me, I'm always bringing up stuff. I'm always networking, trying to connect the dots.
I know I'm trying to sell you this policy, but other than this policy shit, how can we work together?
Yeah, and he was all for it.
Yeah.
So it's like you gotta, but that situation would have never came about if I never mentioned the studio, the team, the brand. Like if you don't talk about it, some people are just not gonna know.
Yeah, people get too humble. If you get too humble and you're constantly dimming your light, how's anybody supposed to see you shine? You're a star. You're supposed to shine.
And talk that shit and talk it to the rooftops.
Yeah. And that goes for your tribe too. You know, your tribe should be shouting you out too. Like I do the same thing. So it's like, just because I might wear the shirt, but I don't have to wear the shirt. I have it tatted, but I don't need to have it tatted for you to know. You know, usually people will end up liking a conversation with me. If I'm just having a simple conversation, whether it be, I don't want to say the weather because that's like a played out, but like, oh, you know, this area over here needs to be fixed. And then you start talking a conversation, then they start realizing, yo, I kind of like this person. And then you kind of ask them naturally, well, what do you do? And then they find out, oh, you do music too? Oh, man, I already liked you as an individual right now. So now I actually want to check out your website. I want to see your merch. I want to actually hear your music. And then, bam, they end up becoming a fan and be like, yo, I just had a real conversation with somebody that wasn't treating me like like a diva. Like I wasn't, I'm not head up held high and acting like you should bow down and be kissing the rings, bitch. Like I'm not acting like that. I don't necessarily need to, but I'm also not being humble either.
There's two different type of crews out there. Like, one's built off envy and fear.
Yeah.
And then there's ones built off love and respect.
Yeah.
Which crew do you want to be a part of? Like we were saying, like there's which ones you going to surround yourself with?
I know that love will always go further. If you love something, it'll go further. And I mean that in every aspect. You can't go into a marriage, and I don't mean just like an intimate relationship with you and your lady or vice versa. I mean like a marriage with your crew. If you're going into a marriage with your crew, if you're going into it with open arms and showing love and being love, like acting in the essence of love, it's only going to grow. If you act in hate, it's going to grow, but it's not going to grow in a positive light.
And there's going to be good days and bad days.
Right.
Just like every relationship. And anytime you have a friendship, whatever you have with somebody, there's going to be, if you see somebody every day, there's going to be good days and bad days.
Right.
You're going to be on the top of your game sometime. They're not. Sometimes you both are going to be on the top of your game. Sometimes you both are going to be low. All of y'all are going to be low.
Right.
But then that's where the leaders come into play. Like, who's going to step up and swing this around? Have that fucking locker room talk like, yo, everyone get off your fucking ass. Let's get it going.
Right.
Like, what the fuck we've been doing? Like, and sometimes that's what it takes. And I can say this with our crew, every last one of us has been that man at some point.
Yeah.
Like, one of us is slacking. The other one's like down about some shit that happened in life, whatever. Someone busts in that locker room like, yo, we getting to work, boys, or what?
Right.
We getting there and what?
Are you finished or you done?
Yeah, and we get fired back up and we get right back on the trail. You need those pick-me-ups from the crew. And you need the people to be your that battery for you sometimes, because you're not going to get it from the social people all the time. You're not going to get it from your family or friends sometimes, because everyone's caught up in their own stuff they got going on sometimes. But the people who are centered in that same energy, that's the people you should be able to lean on.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if you got a crew that's built like that.
Right. And to expand on that, because it's not just a tribe, building the tribe as your inner circle and building this village as like, oh, it has to be someone music related. This also goes into building these fan bases, building that relationship with the people that are actually supporting you. They heard your music or they heard the podcast and they're reaching out to me saying like how much they love what it is I'm doing. Me doing the podcast is really just showing them who I am as an individual, even more than me just posting. Now it's not just me forcing down like, hey, here's me rapping, here's me rapping, here's me rapping. Now I'm actually showing them like how I think, what's my morale like, how I speak about things and people and whatever. It's making them fall in love with who I am, so they end up becoming more of a fan of my music. And now I'm actually having even more conversations with fans. It's almost like I can't even call them fans, because a fan is kind of like somebody that watches from the background. Mm-hmm. But like these people are actually able to hit me up. We'll actually have a conversation. They'll even say like, oh, I like your music, or is that your daughter? Or like, we're actually having a conversation to where like, it's not like that mystique. Like there's a certain level of mystique to me, of course. It's not like I don't always let the right hand know what the left one's doing or vice versa. So when these people are reaching out to me, like it's a certain level of growth. There's a certain level of development that's happening because I'm trying to build this tribe. And I'm doing it in a genuine way. It's just that me naturally being an introvert, extrovert, like I never always liked talking to people too much. So I might have came off standoffish. But now I'm like opening those floodgates and just having full-on conversations with people. And it's actually working out for my benefit, because not only am I meeting great people, just like you met, you're trying to sell a policy, but a policy turns into an actual relationship building moment where, aside from him protecting himself and his family, now he's actually able to potentially build a relationship to where we can actually maybe do business with each other.
Yeah.
I've literally met with people that either are like...
It's crazy how stuff like that happens.
Yeah. I got people that are, they make their own weed. I've always wanted to strand. You never know, if I start developing and talking with these people, maybe they are able to help me figure out how to grow my own weed, or they'll build me a strand and I can call it, you know what I'm saying?
It's interesting all the different ways you can mesh things you do with someone else and what they're doing.
Right.
If you really get creative, both of y'all. Like they could be a whole different other business than what you got going on, and you can somehow figure out how to blend it and both make money together.
Right.
And that's a beautiful fucking thing.
Very beautiful thing. Because now,
that's where I go back to that capitalism shit. That's where it gets beautiful.
Yeah.
Because when you get two genius minds, me, you,
right.
like you can't stop something like this.
You can't.
So it's
only we can
stop
this.
Exactly.
And even if we stopped it because there's something else at the, we reached the end of the tunnel and there's a new light to be shined.
Exactly. And that goes back to the beginning where that whole Dame and Jay-Z, they both were destined to be millionaires either way, which way they went.
Yeah.
Dame could go off and do a bunch of business stuff like he's doing now. Jay's the king of the hip hop, basically, one of the top in the hip hop game.
Right.
And that was their past. Dame was already a businessman. Jay-Z was already rapping. They just split off and did it in their own ways and just still made money. We don't know what other sour shit happened in between that they don't really deal with each other, but shit like that happens. It's life. Hopefully they can get back at that and come together and be like, yo, we made millions together, bro.
Right.
And that's a beautiful thing.
I've heard Dame say that a few times, and I'm sure there's that certain level of love and respect for it. And, unfortunately, it went down that path. And you never know when it's going to happen, that path. And if you, as an individual, if you're an artist, creator, or whatever, if the people are around you, if you're constantly thinking about when is that going to happen, just understand that you're manifesting it. So even if you're manifesting it, it's going to go 100. Bad. If you're telling yourself, I wonder when it's going to go bad. It's going to go bad eventually. But 100. If it's going to go bad and you're manifesting it, you might as well enjoy the ride while you got the ride. Just don't be shady as fuck with it. And if you keep manifesting that, just understand that you can change your mind and decide that it's not going to be that either. It's, it's completely dictated by how it is that you view yourself and that you want to put it out there. Today, you can wake up in the morning and say you're going to have a bad day. You're probably going to have a bad day. If you tell yourself that the team is actually going to be flourishing, and even if it doesn't work out, at least you guys are leaving, with a mutual benefit where it's working out for me and it's working out for them. You can't really be mad at that. That doesn't mean it has to be like, I love you less, or it has to be beef. It could still be a mutual, split. If it had to be like that. If you have to think that way, then think of it that way. But I would say just not think that way.
And, in that aspect, people get turned into rock stars. They turn into divas all the time and all types of crew. And then they find out that the grass wasn't greener on the other side. You know how many crews split and then they did better numbers together?
Right.
They're trying to go solo for whatever reason, and it's just not the same. Like, y'all should have stayed together at least maybe even a little longer, at least. Right. Let it bubble a little bit more before you make rash decisions. But, everyone learns from these different life lessons. And if that ever does come, it's just about making it a conversation with the crew, first of all, before you get into the whole blog, internet shit. It's how you do it. It's like, I'm sure if there's respect on the table, you going your way, they're going our way, then there's always going to be respect. But if you leave like, fuck you, bitch ass nigga, then it turns into something else, you know? And that's with anybody.
And then you hop online talking that shit, and now you just you make yourself look even worse. And that's the thing about people also, like, that move like that, whether they're in your own crew or you mentioned people constantly jumping from crew to crew. I had said this before in one of the episodes that we always view shit like everything needs to be conquered. And in order to conquer something, you have to go into it violently. A lot of people need to understand that just because you can win a situation, that doesn't mean that you're actually winning. Like, you might have won that situation, but at what cost? What did you end up losing because you wanted to chase that win? Because you could lose some really good relationships. I could go and choose to be a complete dick and be a jerk to you, Ben Grizz, Jack. I could do whatever just to look for some type of win, to get that win, but then I lost the people that were close to me.
Yeah. Winning at what cost?
Right.
That's a good topic right there. That actually is a good topic right there.
Yeah.
Because we can go down the rabbit hole with that one.
Go ahead, because that's what I'm saying.
There's the people that, you even, just to touch on it, there's the artists. Yeah. They always thought about being, or artist, businessman, whatever you aspire to be at the top level, what you do. People who just have that dream, right? And they'll do whatever it takes to get there.
Right.
They'll sacrifice somebody. They'll step on toes.
Yeah.
They'll do shady business deals.
Yeah.
They'll do all types of stuff to get there. And then when they get there, it's not what they imagined it was.
Right.
So it's like, that's a whole nother thing. It's like, don't sacrifice your integrity.
Yeah.
Because then when you lose yourself, you lose yourself.
Yeah. you do have to admittedly have a certain level of like where you need to, like, because I said I've been fighting or doing this shit. Like I need to breathe. So that's why I'm doing it. I'm going so hard. I'll do anything I need to do to be able to achieve. But there's certain morale. There's certain lines in the sand that I might not cross in the sense of if it's gonna cost me my integrity or peace.
Yeah, like this crew over here at GGF, we ain't making you sacrifice goats or nothing to get with the crew, you know? But if you try to get with the billionaire boys or whatever, like some shit might be going on over there for you to get in their crew. Then you got to have that conversation with yourself. Are you sacrificing integrity to get with these people? Or do you have to change your whole persona? Because then why do it? Like if you got to change yourself to fit in, why do that?
Because even though you can still achieve, you can still win on that side, but at what cost? Because at the end of the day, you can still win in your way without it costing you your integrity, without it costing you your peace or your family or sacrifices or whatever it is that is.
All that crazy shit we hear.
All that conspiracy shit, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever it might be. We've already had these conversations about how labels are struggling or it appears like they're struggling and there's all these job losses and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But then you watch people like LaRussell or you watch people like Russ, who's like really doing things independently and like, you know, they still had to pay their dues. They still probably lost friendships, family members, because naturally success, it brings people around you, you know, that might have knew you for your whole childhood and seen you as a snotty nose that they used to wipe their ass, but then one day you become famous or very successful, but now for some reason they act like you owe them for you putting in the work. You decided to wake up every morning and manifest and do something great and achieve your goals, but then there's people out there that sat on their ass and watched you do it, but for some reason they feel like they're entitled or they feel like you owe them because of you going out and going chasing it. There's still that level of aspect. But if you watch some of these people, like I said, like a LaRussell, the Russ, you know, people like that, Nick D, all these people that are finding major success without having to sell their soul. They might not be Drake, you know, as big as Drake, or they might not be as big as Michael Jackson or Tupac or whatever the fuck it is that you want to say. But these people are very, very successful.
And it's about finding people who, you know, really support you. At the end of the day, it could be family members. It could be this team that we're telling you, the power team you need to go find, whether it's 2, 3, 4 people, that's all better than one. Yeah. Trying to come together and brainstorm, especially depending on what stage in your career or your dream you're at. But finding that support, you know, whether it's from the community, the person you never talked to, the person that you end up bringing up your brand and what you do to, and then he ends up really checking in and loving what you do, or he or she, you know, that's where when you got support, it ends up leading to a tribe, a crew, a team. You got rapid fans like LaRussell, Russ, you know, all these independents who they don't need to do these partnerships if they don't want to. They'll still be good in music.
Say, fuck it, I'm just going to do a show in my own backyard and have my family cook. And then you're going to just show up and pay whatever to get into it. That right there, you can't beat that type of level. Especially
that family,
love.
That family love is something different. And it goes back to what you were saying earlier. They feel like they know LaRussell. Yeah. They feel like they know Russ because the way he spits game on the podcast and the interviews, like he really gives out gems. The people who do that, they feel like they know YB because of all the baby mama stuff and the street stuff and they feel like when they feel like they know you, that's when you get those rabid fans. They seen Beyonce since Destiny's Child till now. Now you got the Bayhive. You know, like
Beehive,
yeah, you know, like it's that's how you get that rapid fan base. They see you go through stuff. Yeah. And with GGF, with Kaseek, with Tyrant, with Ben Grizz, they seen us go through it all. And they're about to see us touch a lot of prosperity. And that's going to be part of the allure that we bring. Right. You know, it's a beautiful thing.
It is, because the fact that we're even documenting it and doing a podcast, whatever. It's funny because I don't even like calling it a podcast because it's really just me chilling with my homie, talking what it is that we already talk about anyways and just filming it. So, like, it's such a beautiful thing because, like I said, and like you said, is that these people are just coming. I'm literally finding new fans. Bro, I put out a whole thing saying like, hey, I wanted to raise money for studio upgrades. And I had people that just followed me like days ago already sending me money.
We love it all. Every last one
which
of
I
y'all.
super appreciate. By the time this comes out, hopefully I already have it by then. But I'm just saying I appreciate that type of love because it's crazy that I have people that have been following me for 10 years that won't even donate $1, but somebody just stumbles on my page and is like, yo, I really like what this dude Kaseek is doing. Him and the people over there are doing some great things. Yeah, let me throw some bread because they believe in the vision. They had no, no extra turmoil that turned them off. They weren't clicked up with this person or these people or whatever the case. They just seen me for who I am as an individual. They seen that I was a star shining bright and they wanted to be a part of that. There's nothing like, you can look at the stars all day, but imagine being able to have a conversation with that star and watch it go brighter and brighter, and you're helping it go brighter. You're literally a part of history. The people that donate and help to the studio upgrades, they're literally a part of the history that's being made constantly.
And I used to get caught up on support, like the levels of support, like from family, people, community, whatever.
Same.
But at this point, I just appreciate it all. It's kind of crazy. Like things happen in life. It makes you see things differently, whatever. But I appreciate it all. The people who are silent about their support, but they support, they love what we're doing. And they might talk to the next person about it we don't know about. They might view every last thing we do. There's still support.
Yeah, they might not like it, they might not comment, might not share it, but if they heard us, there's no way that you can't hear this shit and not take it some way internally.
You're supporting in some way, shape, or form, whether you're liking it, whether you're sharing it, whether you're telling other people, yo, go towards those GGF dudes, go work with them. Like all that support, and like, I don't care what level it comes at, I'm taking it all. And I'm sure you are too. And that's how the team's been moving. We're just grateful for it all. Even the people, we're not going to give those people credit, but the people who talk about us in another light, that's support too. You're talking about us. So we love it. Like, we want our name to keep going out there, keep generating. People keep trying to figure out what we're doing and really trying to connect with us. So that leads to it all.
Right.
If you're not doing something big, no one's going to talk about you. It'll be whispers about you,
Right. Whether we did something right or wrong and you're talking about it, it's still going. I'm still shining. You know what I'm saying? I'm still human too. So it's like, if I mess up, you know what I'm saying? That's like a bully move. Like if you make fun of people for being down, it's like, it just brings you down. Like you look stupid.
Yeah. And we never do that. Even the people that we talk to who might be in a bad place, I'm sure a lot of people can attest to this. Right. We shed positivity on you. We try to bring you back up, and we let you know that if we can do it, you can do it.
Literally had recording studio sessions that weren't even recording sessions. They were literally therapeutic sessions. Yeah. We're just having a conversation.
There's people we've done business with on short term, people we're still doing business with to this day from years ago.
Yeah.
I appreciate even those people because I learned stuff from them. I'm sure they learned stuff from me or us. That period of business was supposed to up your development in some way, shape, or form. Don't get salty with it, especially if it was like going back to the beginning. It wasn't a bad split. There was no negative stuff that happened when y'all just stopped talking. Life just happened. You go another way. Sometimes people, when you don't talk to a person you did talk to heavy at some point, they might take it as like beef almost. But it's like, nah, I'm just so locked in on this new wave I'm on. If you're really a homie and a friend like that, we could talk 5 years from now and it's going to be like it was today or yesterday.
Yeah, just yesterday.
It's going to be like no time was gone.
Right.
I don't need to call you every day. I love you.
Right.
And when I tell you I love you, I love you. And that don't change. That's not conditional. It's unconditional. And if I ever told you those words, that's going to last. That's going to stick there. And until you tell me you don't love me no more, then fuck it. Then we can decide it from there.
Right. Facts.
But yeah, this is Figure It the Fuck Out. And we'll be back to you with another one very soon.
Figure it the fuck out.